What's up everybody, Venom here with a quick guide on World of Warcraft Dragonflight. Let's get right into it. One of the biggest questions that I have for myself, as well as questions that I have been asked by people, is how to make gold in World of Warcraft Dragonflight, or World of Warcraft Classic, or just World of Warcraft in general. Gold making is something that is a hot topic, and it always has been, because you can now pay for a subscription by simply using gold in-game, meaning you'll never have to spend real money if you make enough gold. And while that looks good and sounds good on paper, it's not as easy as people think. Today's guide is going to be a little bit different, because not only am I going to give away my methods, but I'm also going to kind of explain 5 things that most gold farmers and gold makers that you see on YouTube are not going to tell you when they are giving away this information about how to make gold in World of Warcraft. Now, I'm not saying that all of these gold makers are wrong. I'm not saying that their tactics don't work. I am just simply going to explain to you through 16 years of experience playing this game how I feel about the different farm tactics and different guides that are being put out, and what I know works as well as what I know doesn't work. So today we're going to talk about 5 things that other guide writers and other gold farmers are just not going to tell you. First things first, and this is probably the most important one, they're not going to give you the best, most lucrative farms that they've found for themselves. And that's not because they're selfish, and that's not because they're being rude or mean or anything like that. It's simply because why would you want to share a secret formula to the perfect recipe and then not be profitable from that anymore? That's kind of the biggest thing. They're not going to share all these huge gold making tips that they have, either A, because they don't have them, or B, because they don't want to give away their secret sauce, and that's completely okay. Now, some guide writers and some gold farmers that I have personally watched myself over the last few years, I've even purchased some of their gold making guides, and some of them are very knowledgeable, and they're amazing guides, and they're amazing people. But they're not going to share everything, and that's something that you have to expect, and that's something you have to accept, that not all guide writers are going to be fully transparent with how to make millions of gold or how to make hundreds of thousands of gold, because if they were, then they wouldn't have that formula for themselves, and they would lose out on profit as well. The second thing also kind of goes without saying, but this is something that I struggled with for years. Most of these farms that they are going to tell you to do, you go here, you make 150,000 gold in 22 minutes. That's not how it works. And most farms will not make you gold quickly, if any at all. Especially these transmog items. The auction house is so volatile, and the auction house changes every second of every day. If you use add-ons like TSM, Auctionator, you know that literally you can scan the auction house, leave and go farm the thing that you were told to farm, and come back, and the price has plummeted drastically. And that's just how the auction house works. That's how it's created. So sometimes, yes, you might make that million gold, and that's amazing, and I applaud you for it. But a lot of it is going to take months and months to offload to get that million gold sale. That's just something that they're not going to tell you. They're going to tell you if you farm this enough times, which is true. You can absolutely make gold off of transmog. The chances of you making gold off of transmog quickly, if at all, are just very slim. The odds of somebody needing that one particular item the one day that you so happen to loot it off of a mob is just very small compared to other things, which again, I will get into what I use personally for myself to make gold on a consistent basis. And it's not going to be transmog. It's not going to be armor that you're going to put on the auction house. It's not going to be any of that. And it's simply because that's never worked for me. I have farmed pattern after pattern after pattern and come up empty. And it gets really discouraging after a while. And yes, when you make that million gold sale, you are absolutely ecstatic, but the odds of it happening are just very low. So always take every gold making guide with a grain of salt, and understand that the transmog items and these crazy high ticket items have a very low sell rate. Number 3 is going to be a lot of gold farmers just have a stockpile of this transmog and things saved up for months waiting for the auction house to move and fluctuate. This is not something that they just did yesterday and they looted all these items and they sold them overnight. These guide writers and these hardcore farmers and these hardcore gold makers, they stockpile certain transmog and they wait until the auction house fluctuates and then they post them at the right moment. And sometimes they sell and sometimes they don't. I know people personally, including myself, who waited over 200 days to offload a pattern that was worth almost 1 million gold at the time. And overnight it plummeted because people found out about the farm, went and got it, and just put it on the auction house. So while I had that amazing pattern and I was so excited, it took me 200 days to offload it because by the time somebody needed what I had, the price just wasn't the same anymore and people had already got that money for it. Again, that's not to say that you'll never make money off of transmog, and that's not to say that these farms and guides are incorrect. It's just they need to be realistic with you about the numbers, and I feel like a lot of them aren't. And that kind of leads me to my next point. Gold making, number 4, gold making is hard. It takes time and effort, and it does not come quickly, and it won't come quickly. Blizzard knows not to throw 1 million huge ticket items into the mix because they have to keep the auction house regulated and moving as it should. Now, of course, there are 1 billion high ticket items out there that have a very low drop rate, and if you are consistent, of course you can find them. But that comes with anything. Gold making is going to take time and effort, and it's not going to happen overnight. You are not going to sell $1 million item overnight 99.9% of the time. Now, am I saying that it can never happen? Absolutely not. I've sold things for 200, 300, 400,000 gold, but it just doesn't happen often. And I'd rather take small wins every day than hope for a big win every couple of months. And again, that's just something that I've learned through gold farming for literally 16 years in this game and trying to make as much gold as I possibly can in this game in order to not have to pay my subscription, which is why most people gold farm. And that's going to bring me to my next point. Number 5 is that bots take over the market 99.9% of the time, literally the day that the farm is discovered. Bots are such a problem in World of Warcraft, and they have been since day one. Since the game released, there has been people botting this game and, dual boxing and running around with 5 characters at a time to take 1 herb, and this is not new. The one thing that guide writers don't tell you is that once they find a guide, usually it's already been overtaken by bots. And so you're going to go there excited about this journey, and there's going to be 1 billion different people farming this same item that might have 5 accounts. So they're able to loot more herbs than you. They're able to skin more mobs than you, faster than you. They are min-maxing by dual boxing, which of course is a bannable offense now. But the odds of all of the dual boxers being caught and bots being caught, it's just very slim. Being able to catch all of them is not something that's going to happen, and that's okay. But we have to understand that as gold farmers. We have to understand that bots take over the market all the time, and we have to find new ways to build our own gold stockpile and make the dragons jealous in the game, And I know I said 5, and this one's just kind of like a bonus, but it's mostly because I think it's not discussed as often as it should be. Every realm is going to be different. Every single realm in World of Warcraft is going to have different prices, different sell rates, different everything. And so you're not always guaranteed to watch these gold farmers who might be on a high pop realm selling things very rapidly. If you're on a low population realm, you're not going to sell things as fast as they will, plain and simple. And if you're on a high population realm and they're on a medium population realm, you might sell it fast, but you are absolutely not going to sell it for the price that they might get for it because you're on a high population server where other people are also utilizing these farms and selling things much more quickly than you will. And that's okay too. That's going to lead me into what I do every single day, or what I do almost every day when I'm not just enjoying the game for what it is. When I'm gold farming, here are my biggest tips that I can give you on gold farming in World of Warcraft. First and foremost, you're going to want to farm materials almost every chance that you get. Professions are just profitable. Now, there are some professions that are better than others. I don't want to sound like a broken record. I know you hear that in every video. Professions, 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 but it's true. I personally like the gathering professions because even if the new stuff isn't selling, the old stuff usually is. For example, a lot of the old things like Inaxramus and dredged leather even from BFA and Nazjatar, those are selling like crazy for skinners right now. So if you have skinning, then utilize skinning. If you have herbalism, go back to a couple expansions, look at what's selling on the market and what's not, how many sell per day, the sell rate. All of that is given to you with add-ons. You can absolutely see how many are selling regionally on average per day and decide what to utilize your time doing. So if you want to look at the past expansions like Pandaria, or if you want to look at even Burning Crusade, go back and collect all the different herbs in, Hellfire Peninsula. There's so many options. And I think that that's just overlooked because it takes so much time and people want money quickly. And that's just not how it's going to work 99.9% of the time. So my first big tip is to just take your time, look through the auction house, see what herbs are selling, see what ores are selling, and see what skins are selling. I think that 100%, without a doubt in my mind, reagents are always going to be the gold makers because they are always needed for something. People are crafting all the time, looking for that new and improved cool item that might be BOP, so they have to craft it, and then it's theirs forever. They are always looking for reagents, and they are always looking for materials. So farming raw materials is always going to be my number one tip. Number two is going to be raw gold farms. I just enjoy running around and killing things. Most people don't, but there are plenty of raw gold farms out there. There's hundreds of thousands of places for you to go and just discover this crazy hyper spawn location where it's a quest area. And so you kill mobs over and over and over and over. And yes, it's tedious. And no, it's not fun. And it's not going to make you millions of gold a day, but it will make you gold. And that's the goal, right? We want to make gold in the game to pay our subscription. So while it's not a million gold item that you're going to loot off of one of these mobs, you have a chance to. If it's a world drop, you're killing mobs. So if you get one of those crazy drops, that's awesome. But if not, you're still going to be making raw gold in the meantime. And also that kind of includes the reagents, right? If you're killing bats and they drop bat wings, and those bat wings are used for certain, different crafting supplies, right? Then you're going to be able to sell those too and make money off of it. And that's just always what I'm going to go towards, is the raw gold farms and the reagents and the materials and the cloth, things like that. Things that are consistently selling so that I'm not wasting my time running through a raid, resetting, running through, resetting, running through. And then I don't sell what I finally acquired after hundreds of runs for 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 months. That's just not what I want to do with my time. So those are going to be my tips, and those are going to be the 5 things that gold farmers won't tell you in World of Warcraft. I hope this was helpful. It's not one of my usual guides, and it's also not one of my usual tips and tricks videos either. This is simply me telling you that there's a lot that they don't tell you because either A, they don't know, B, the market is so volatile they can't promise anything, or C, they want you to buy their gold farming guide, so they don't share all the information or they wouldn't make money off of it. And that's okay too. But with that said, that's going to do it for this video. As always, if you like the video, then like the video. And if you like my content in general, then please subscribe to my channel. It means the world to me. And I will see you in the next one. Bye!